Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of A Candle or the Night. If you like D&D and are a Star Wars nerd, this is the podcast for you. We are here tonight with episode number 19 as our heroes continue their infiltration of the Arakid top secret research facility. If you're enjoying the show, we would very much appreciate if you would leave us a 5-star review on iTunes. Also, if you have any emails or comments, leave them at feedback@candleorthenight.com. And now, without further ado, let's get on with the adventure. Alright, let's do our recap from last game. Okay, so we are now back with A Candle or the Night. This is episode 19. So recapping what we had last time on session 18, the party landed on Sembla at a top secret facility owned by Arakid Industries. The initial deception played against the control tower worked beautifully, resulting in the party being greeted by the chief financial officer, Rena Varath. Tyrus managed to charm her to some degree, as she is a woman who also appreciates good taste in the finer things. A decision is made to split the party, with Jensa remaining on the ship as the getaway driver. Bior and Victor stealthily lurk in the shadows, and Ishwar, Kip, and Tyrus follow their escort into the complex. After unceremoniously being asked to wait in a holding area, Ishwar became irritated and roars in the face of the security guard. Tyrus capitalized on the tumult to coerce the guards to immediately take him to the office of the COO, Mr. Jeldorn Mech. Mr. Mech, overly convinced of his own importance, carries himself with a level of crassness which was widely offensive to Ishwar. Tyrus managed to dazzle him into buying into the notion that Kip is an advanced droid which can modify technology to a level never seen before. In a gutsy gambit, Tyrus orders the guard to shoot at Kip with a blaster, just as Kip manages to modify the blaster to fire a disruptor field. Miraculously, Kip managed to modify the blaster just in time to scramble the energy of the bolt aimed straight at him. Awestruck and buying into the deception as well, Mr. Mech can barely contain his enthusiasm to discuss purchase arrangements. Order begins to break down as Mech asks the guard to escort Kip out of the room. Tyrus objects, but is interrupted by the entrance of a malicious-looking Cathar in black garments, carrying a double-bladed lightsaber. The man warns Mech that they have a meeting and not to keep him waiting. Tyrus attempts to use his Force influence power, which unfortunately not only broadcasts his Force sensitivity to this dark side Force user, but unfortunately resulted in Tyrus being incapacitated by the fear that he experienced from touching the mind of one so steeped in the dark side. At that moment, chaos breaks out. Expecting an attack from the Cathar, he surprisingly vanishes before the party's very eyes. As Mech moves to flee, the Cathar's lightsaber slices him in two, all while the Cathar remains shrouded by the Force. Ishwar, used to the horrors of war, is unaffected by the display and strikes at the fire suppression system, hoping to cause a diversion. The alarms trip and guards pour in from all over the facility. Victor capitalizes on this moment to break into the computer core and slice through the first layer of the system's defenses. As blaster fire erupts and the divided party must secure their mission objective and a safe exit, a more deadly cat-and-mouse game begins as the Cathar challenges them to see if they can exit the facility alive. And that brings us to where we are now. We were actually on one of the GM-controlled NPC's initiative slot, so we're going to pick up straight from there. I would like everyone to roll me one Force dice, please, so we can generate our destiny pool.
Dark side point coming up, Albie.
Oh.
Yay, light side!
Once again, Victor reps the light side. Last week was
Ishwar rocking the dark side.
All day.
Whoa! That's the second time in 19 games that I've rolled a light side.
All right, so let's see. We have 1, 2, 3 light side and 2 dark side.
We don't get one for an AFK player.
Oh no.
One dark side point.
Yeah, one set of dark side points. No, I'm just kidding.
One despair.
Yeah, my
Yeah,
students.
that was crazy.
What happened?
Yeah, no, the cat somehow got a shopping bag attached to him and just went flying across the house, and he looked like one of those like drag racers with the parachutes out.
As cats do, of course.
He gets for attacking a paper bag or a plastic bag.
No, this was like a great big giant, like one of those cloth shopping bags.
Good. That's what he gets for attacking it.
Well, he's attacking it again now, so
He's learned his lesson. No, perhaps not.
he's in murder mode.
All right, so we are on actually an NPC turn.
Bring up the map.
There, you should all be able to see it now. By the way, you can always open things I've given to you in the past by going into your images tab on the side of the screen.
I just don't know what the name of the image was. I couldn't find
Ah, okay. I can always force it up on your screen, which is what I just did. So.
That's why I asked.
Okay, so none of you are in view of what is happening here. However, Victor, you see as you are in the midst of working on the computer core.
Got an extra Bior on the screen.
What's that?
We have an extra Bior in the room with us for some reason.
Oh, I do?
You can never have enough Biors.
What do you mean? Where?
No, there's one.
That actually.
There's
that
one
works
Bior,
out.
one Kip, one Ishwar.
Oh, and there's Bior right there.
I see him in there. Yeah.
Yeah, I also
There
see a
is an extra
Bior.
Bior.
He shouldn't be
Yeah,
with
Yeah, there are two
Oh
Biors.
shoot! Yeah, you're right. Sorry.
Okay, alright.
But no.
Damn,
We
Bior,
can
you're
killed
in
him.
the
No, I'm
forest.
just
We
kidding.
can keep him because we can put one in the room with Victor, and the other in the room with Ishwar, and then all of our healing needs will be. Bior, learn to cut yourself in half somehow.
There you go, Bior.
I'm
I'm sorry you were cloned momentarily.
Sorry to interrupt that.
No, good. I'm glad you said that because that would have created confusion. Okay, so Victor, while you're looking at the computer terminal, what you see there, aside from what you're trained on, which is trying to defeat the security systems, on one of the subscreens to your right, you see what looks like telemetry from each of the employees in the droid lab. Apparently, because it's a high radiation area, they're required to wear some kind of tracking system that gives you information on their vitals. And all of a sudden, at this moment, you see one of them flatline and go red. There's no heartbeat. It's just the entire entry on the telemetry goes red. And within a second or two later, a second goes red as well. And then the third.
Cathar.
And that concludes that turn. Are you sharing this with your teammates?
On my turn, yes,
Okay.
I will share this with the teammate.
We are back up at the top of the round. Ishwar.
We've eliminated the guard in here, correct?
Correct. In this current room, there are no more guards.
Okay, is the door open? Can I see in the next room there?
The door is currently not open.
Alright, I will move up to open the door.
Okay, as you go close to the door then opens.
And is there anyone in that room?
You see what looks to be some form of droid. You have not yet entered the room, but you can see him standing towards the door, farther away from you.
Would I be able to move into melee range with him
You are currently.
where I am?
So the way that maneuvers work in this game, you can spend a maneuver to go. You're currently in short range of him. Yeah, you could spend one maneuver to get an engaged range of him.
Okay, I will do so, and I will attack him with my
And I'll allow you to make a knowledge warfare roll if you'd like to get information about what you see.
Sure. Let me.
If you choose to.
Yeah, I will. Let me roll my attack.
ahead.
Well, you want to do that before?
Oh, it's entirely up to you.
Yeah, I'll do that real quick.
It's an average difficulty knowledge warfare.
Just 2 purple.
Nice. So you roll 3 success, a threat, and a triumph. So you've seen these before, Ishwar. These are known as Model X9 Super Battle Droids. They were originally chassis from Clone War era droids that were upgraded. They are known to have a powered capacitive shield, which can be activated, and you can see in his chest there's a electrical core that is kind of arcing, almost like Jacob's ladder style, in the center of a clear space in his chest. And you've seen that in the past they can discharge those in a area attack on all of those around them. Oh, and weapon-wise, you see a wrist-mounted blaster.
Okay. I will.
Feel free to
attempt
make your attack.
I will.
Where's our
make my
stressful
attack.
combat music?
I hear it. Oh, I hear the alarms going off and stuff. Anyway, I will make my attack. This is +1 damage since I am wounded. That is a critical.
You did not roll difficulty on it. A
sorry.
melee attack is 2 purple dice difficulty.
Weird, my siren escape crashed. I just reloaded.
All right, so you lost 2 damage on the attack.
With critical.
Yeah. So okay, here's what happens. You get 1 net success and 2 advantage. So you can spend those 2 advantage for a critical hit. Is your weapon a critical rating of 2?
It is.
Then yes, you can score a critical attack. So the damage will be 8 damage against him.
Plus my brawn, which is 3, and then actually +4 because my brawn +1 for being wounded will he rage.
Hang on 1 second. I've already added your damage into the weapon for your bronze, so that's already accounted for.
That also a cleave weapon, so if I do damage his weapons.
So that, just to review, I've permanently adjusted the properties of your weapon to have the damage that accounts for your bronze. So the base damage is 6 because it's brawn +3.
Okay.
You have pierce 2, so you ignore 2 points of soak. So please remind me of that if I don't seem to remember, because that makes a big difference. And it's vicious 3, so you get to add 30 to the critical roll. So
You also need to add that it is Sunder 1. It does damage.
oh, is it Sunder?
weapons.
Okay. And then you said you get to add damage because you're injured. Is that a talent?
Yeah, no, that is Wookiee Rage. Whenever a Wookiee has suffered wounds, he deals +1 damage with brawl and melee attacks, and when he is critically injured, it's +2.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay. All right, so let me apply the damage. 7 minus 2. Okay, so the net damage is 5 with his reduced soak, and then we'll add the critical.
Ooh,
Okay, so for
2.
critical, he is dazed. Disoriented till the end of the encounter. That's nice. Okay. Disoriented means he adds setback dice to all attacks. So I'll make note of that. Okay, so as you swoop your giant vibroaxe forward, you slash across the center of his chassis and actually make a deep gouge as he reels back for a moment. Oh, we have to add 30 to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 92.
Oh, crap. Okay. That's worse. 92. 1 strain incurred per action. And since he has no strain, that counts as a wound. You know, rivals don't have strain. So every time he acts, he is going to take another wound point. So you have actually severed through part of his power core as you sort of drove that vibroaxe into his chassis, and there seems to be leaking some sort of iridescent fluid And every time he moves, it's kind of like belching forth another spurt of this caustic fluid that's like burning around to the sides of his chassis. And you see it flickering in his lights on his ocular sensors has kind of induced a malfunction.
Perfect. A quick question before we move on. So, Sunder damages his weaponry, and now what does the damage to your weaponry mean, just for my own player?
I believe to activate that, you have to be able to spend additional advantage. So if you had 2 more advantage, you could spend it to sunder his weapon, and he would gain damage to the weapon. It would go down in quality, in its repair state. All right, so it is Tyrus's turn. Tyrus actually seems to have recovered somewhat from his previous sort of migraine, and he stands up and regards the room for a moment and tells you, Kip, stay behind me. He walks out and is a little bit maybe finding his confidence as he looks down in his hand at this weapon that he has that he's never quite really used before. And he flicks it on, and as you see the saber ignite, he begins to slowly but determinedly walk forward to the battle droid and takes a not very, very powerful, but a graceful type hit, sort of lunging forward, almost like a fencer might do. And takes a stab. So that's additional success. So that is 7 damage. So although he manages to strike, you can tell because he's not perhaps acting at his maximum confidence. As he lunges forward, he's off step slightly, and it just kind of goes through the shoulder point of his chassis and manages to pierce the armor, as you see like a sizzle and some melted metal. But it's really not a fantastic hit. You see him take some damage, and he seems moderately wounded at this point. Okay, at this point, it is now going to be an NPC turn. And Rena, most of you wouldn't see this, but Rena leaves her desk, says something to the guard in the room, and then charges out down the hall. She spends both of her maneuver, she spends a maneuver and trades her action in for a maneuver to get to the doorway. And as she comes through the doorway, kind of investigating what's going on there, she sees you, Bior, and you see her for the first time. Now remember, before you were sort of hiding in the ship and staying out of sight. But the moment you see her, you know exactly who this is. And she most certainly recognizes you as she calls across the hallway, Bior? And Bior, you recall that you actually have served as her protector. She was a former client of yours. She screams to the guards for a moment to stand down, where they disregard her and continue firing, but they both actually will have a setback dice due to the self-doubt and confusion as to being ordered by her to stand down. And if you choose, you can interact with her verbally on your next turn. As it is now Security Personnel 2's turn, he is kind of unsure what to do at this moment as he looks at you, Bior. Bior, is your weapon ignited at this point?
Yeah, I was gonna kind of like introduce it, but yeah, you could say it's on.
I just wasn't sure. It's fine if it is not yet, but as this guy he looks at her, looks at his companion there, and he just kind of shakes his head like, oh, F it. And he picks up the blaster and levels it at you and takes a shot. He's getting a setback dice to that shot. So, Bior, he took a shot at you, and as the blaster bolt comes straight forward towards you, it is imminently looking like it's going to hit you. Do you have the reflect talent?
God, no, I don't.
Okay. So, The blaster bolt strikes you in the shoulder. You feel a horrible burning sensation. And I'm going to drag that damage to your character. Due to your soak, though, you actually take only light damage. And as he takes his shot, we now have security personnel number 3, who's outside the door from you, Victor. He runs up to the door and starts banging on it, trying to open it, touching the keypads, cursing into his wrist controller, and the blast doors have gone down, and he can't seem to get in. So he's gonna then spend another maneuver to get out into the hallway. And that will conclude his turn. As we go to you, Jensa.
You cut out.
Jensa, I would like to remind you that on the previous turn, you had fired the ship's weaponry into the comms tower and created a massive damage as the comms tower basically went down.
So hopefully they're not having help on the way yet.
Well, you do see commotion from where you stand in the hangar bay.
Yeah, that was going to be my secondary target.
And I turn it over to you. You are currently on the pad. The ship is not lifted off, but you had just fired the weapons.
All right. Next up, last time you had mentioned that the shuttle doors are down, or there's a force field in place, or this is the garage. Is it like a closed garage door where I can't see in, or is the hangar door open with a force field in the way?
Hangar door is wide open. There's a force field that is activated on it, and you can see through it. So you can kind of see some people scrambling to fuel and load up a ship from kind of where you're standing.
All right. Is there any way, like, structurally, would it be feasible to potentially damage the hangar doors or cause the front of the hangar to collapse by well-placed shots, or is that unrealistic?
You could spend another shot attempting to disable the egress of the hangar bay, yes.
Now, here's the other question. This thing is on a cliff. There's really bad storms. Would it be smarter to shoot at the cliff face stone underneath the complex and maybe cause the front of the hangar to maybe collapse down, rendering it unusable, or should I actually be shooting at the top of the hangar, hoping to collapse it?
I will leave that up to your judgment.
I think
Go
that
big or
I
go
will
home.
aim for the cliff underneath the hangar. I think if I knock that down enough, it'll... I don't know. Is there like a lot of building above the hangar?
There is, but let me try and see how I would describe that. Let me throw up that.
I'm just deciding which way makes more sense to shoot.
It kind of is too far up and behind it. It wouldn't fall down directly on top of it.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take off at this point and kind of, I keep trying to do the, I want to like use my figurine to aim here. I want to aim, I guess, like here-ish to try to start taking down the hangar and shoot if I can. So if I can take off and shoot in the same turn, that's what I'd like.
Let's see. Starship maneuvers. Yeah, it looks like... Seems like it's a maneuver, so I guess you can take off. And you still have an action. And how high are you going? Are you just hovering?
I'm hovering enough to basically be a serious threat to anyone trying to take off out of that hover. I'm going to fire this shot, but basically I'm just going to wait for that force field to drop and just blast any ship that tries to launch out to deal with me. I don't want to maneuver myself too far away from this landing pad because I have party members to pick up. So I'm going to give them the best cover and the best advantage of time. I have no idea what's going on in the building that I can. And I'm going to say over comms, I took out their communications relay and their major gunnery.
Okay, I am gonna need a hard piloting check to represent you trying to keep the ship hovered and steady in very rough, stormy winds without hitting anything.
So that's 3 full dice?
Yeah, 3 purple dice and space piloting, as we have
Can I
correctly
say,
figured out.
I love this system. If they had a system for this for D&D, that would be amazing. I love this system. Like the dice system is.
Oh, good. I want to see
I
you
won't-
take this shit
I
down.
won't use our force points because I know they're fighting basically some kind of badass Jedi hunter by themselves. So I think they need the points more.
And you didn't need the force.
All right, you rolled. Well, you
So I
rolled
have 4
amazing.
successes and I got an advantage. So I am in the optimal position to blast anyone that tries to leave that cargo hangar, assuming there's a cargo hangar.
There is a okay. So basically, you are hovering perfectly, compensating for the crosswinds and everything, and you are in position. Normally, there are not readied actions in this game system, but in this case, what I'm going to have you do at the appropriate time is you're going to roll a contested check, your gunnery versus his piloting, to represent whether you can hit him or whether he evades when he tries to leave.
Not to step on DM, would she be in an advantage in an angle to shoot that storage room that has fuel tanks in it?
If she can get through the force field.
But like,
Or
wait,
if she
okay,
times it when the force field goes down, if you wanted to call for
I
an
was
aimed
thinking like
hit.
that cannon might pierce the outer wall and hit, like, cause the explosion in the hangar.
Oh yeah, no, undoubtedly, if you shot at it enough, you could breach it from the outside and create a massive explosion. I will remind everyone, though, this might not have been mentioned lately, the building is actively on fire on the upper levels, and from Jensa, your view, it is becoming an inferno on the higher levels. It has not gone down to the lowest level yet.
I'm pretty sure I've burned everyone alive on the top floor, guys.
Positive
You
party.
can just hear that over like pew pew pew. I need to roll a gunnery check now.
No, if your plan was to do it as a reaction to when someone tries to fly out, I'll allow it for this, and I'll have you do a contested check at that time.
Okay, well, just let me know when you mean roll.
All right, security personnel 1 levels his blaster at you, Bior. Also, he is going to get setback dice,
Bring it.
and he fires. And he misses over your shoulder, hits the wall behind you as Rena screams at him, "You fool, stop shooting!" Bior, it is your turn. You see Rena before you. What do you do?
Well, all right. So, I react a little bit to getting shot, and a little bit of I wince, and then I look up. I look up slowly, and I tell Jen, "What's her name? Rima?
Rena Varath.
Rena. It's a pleasure to see you again, but I need to get my crew and my friends out of here, and I'm giving you this chance to get out." And I activate my lightsaber.
She says, "I want to help you, however I can help you. You saved my life."
Get all
Hey,
the guards out of here.
All right, she turns and runs out of the room so you can't see her. And what do you do on your turn?
I have to go at the guy that shot me.
Which guy? You have two in front of you.
Right. Well, there's the guy that I threw at the wall, which is the one in the corner.
Yes.
Is he the one that I? Well, actually, man, I don't know. If
No,
she's
the
gonna
one
let
closest
these
to you
people
is the
go
one
or
who
not.
shot you in the shoulder.
Can I just, instead of hurting him, can I just cut his weapon in half? Because I'm assuming that Rena's gonna help us. I'd rather not kill him.
if you... Yeah, I'll tell you. If you're able to at least roll to advantage, I'll allow your damage to go to his weapon if you choose.
All right, I'll try it.
If you don't, I'm gonna assume you miss, and off goes an arm.
That's fine. I'll try it.
Giving him the old Skywalker wound.
You said how many?
Melee is 2 purple dice, and you have to maneuver close to him. So I'll just assume you spend a maneuver to get close to him.
Yeah.
Okay.
So in like a quick like a crouch down, sweep forward type of lunging.
Okay, so try as you might to cut his blaster off. You misjudge the distance and take a huge chunk off the side of his hand and wrist as it just sizzles right through. He still has 3 fingers, but his thumb and his index finger is sort of cut. And he drops the gun on the floor and screams and drops to his knees with his other hand and holds his hand.
It's not yours.
I told the 2 that are there. I just point with my sword. I go, leave.
He actually turns and runs on his turn. It's not his turn yet, but when it is, he's gonna turn and run in horror.
Out of character, if you're in melee combat with somebody using a ranged weapon, is there any kind of increased difficulty for them?
Yeah, there is a change in difficulty if you're a ranged weapon in melee, or if you're shooting at range into people who are in melee together.
Okay, good to know. Good. Thank you.
In fact, I might have sent this to you last time, but I'm going to send it again. It has it on this sheet.
Yeah, I saw that sheet. I didn't read the whole thing. I only got about halfway through it last game. Thank you.
No problem. All right, it is Victor's turn.
All right, so I am going to continue to peck away at the computer. I am chasing this technology. Once again, make another attempt to get the AI security downloaded to my datapad so I can move on to bigger and better things.
All right, so information that you note on the terminals as you are going to make this attempt. The droid lab is showing an alert that the Remus tech is offline and no longer registering as present in the lab.
All right, as I am doing my hacking, I will on comms announce something's going after the Remus tech, and it's dropping a lot of bodies in there. Get to the droid lab ASAP. Don't let anybody leave with a piece of gear. And I will make my computer attempt. Is it still going to be a hard difficulty check to get the AI?
So what you're going to be rolling for this, you're rolling it is 2 purple dice with 1 red dice, and you're attempting to remove the data breaker from the system, correct?
Yes. So I will reduce the difficulty once because of Codebreaker.
Okay, so it becomes 3 purple dice.
Didn't Chip do something last time where he attempted to open and close doors or something, but I didn't do that, but I got enough advantages that it would give Victor's next slicing attempt a boost dice or something?
Yes, you are correct. Good memory. Thank you for reminding me. You get a boost dice, Vic.
All right. Well, here it goes.
Yes.
That is gonna be it.
Yes.
All right, so
Oh wow.
you are by the way, you rolled a success, advantage, and a triumph. So not only are you successful, but what basically happens is as you're actively trying to sort of disconnect the security protocols from the data breaker, it is actively trying to counter you and sort of moving to different circuits, and you're just keeping pace with it. You anticipate its next reaction and reach next to you and pull out one of your what are those things called again? Your lightsaber knives. What is it called?
Addition.
Phase knife. You pull out your phase knife and you slash down at one of the glowing iridescent lines that are coming into the core that it would have used from the server banks to keep maneuvering against you, and you halt it in its tracks, enabling you to gain the upper hand. And you pull the data breaker, which is about the size of a, you know, those military ammo canisters. They're kind of like rectangular. It's sort of about that big, and it's fairly heavy. And as sort of these sort of magnalocks are released, you can pull it out of the core. And as you do, now all subsequent difficulty checks are going to be one less against this mainframe. And you can add it to your inventory. I will do that for you, actually.
Thank you.
Dude.
Anything else you need to do on your turn? I think
May
you might
make
have
another
maneuver.
attempt with my maneuver.
If you use one of your data spikes and expend it, you can turn a computer's check into a maneuver, I think.
Yeah, I have already expended my data spike. Although
Okay.
I thought I had 3.
Oh, you had some other one.
Yeah, there's none left on my inventory sheet, so we'll go with that. I am, with my maneuver ability, I'm going to see if there is like an emergency exit access with a perception check to try and get the doors open from inside.
Okay, just as a side note, I have added it to your character sheet, and you are technically encumbered.
All right.
Which is fine. You can still move. I think you just have a setback dice to things. Let me see what it is.
Okay. Yeah, so 8 is my threshold. I'm at 7. All right, so
Oh,
I'm
you're at
gonna-
7 or you're at 8? I might have misread
I'm at
it.
7 out of 8. So
Oh,
I'm
you're
gonna go
right. No,
ahead
you're
and
not
make the
encumbered. You're not
perception.
encumbered. Sorry. Misread it.
I have 4 successes and 2 threats.
Okay, so because you have the terminal at your disposal, you can tell that a non-obvious entrance from the droid lab has been used to exit towards the hangar bay. You can tell it's been used by someone. As for other exits from the facility, there are numerous hidden exits to upper levels, all of which are on lockdown at the moment due to an uncontrolled fire. And you can see on the screen that the fire is now spreading to the first level in the back bedrooms that you accidentally walked in on a guy doing some things.
Yeah.
And as that happens across all rooms on the first level, the fire suppression system kicks in, creating thick mist. It is now a setback dice to anything involving sight, and a boost dice to any stealth checks.
So there is something leaving the droid lab. Can I update on comms the team to
Absolutely, go ahead.
notify them? Yeah, I
Tell
will
them what you would
notify
say.
them. Hey, there's somebody's accessed some kind of secret passage out of the droid lab to the hangar bay. May want to beeline there. Bior, you're close proximity, right?
I'm right next.
Do I see anyone coming into the hangar bay?
You cannot see well enough in there to see the far end of the hangar bay. There's like a crane and a bunch of boxes and things.
Well, I feel really bad for them if they decided that was going to be the way they wanted to leave, because I'm currently pointing cannons down the launch pad here, so...
Well, we don't know. All right, that ends my turn. That's my maneuver and my action.
All right, so that brings us to the let's see, security personnel. Oh, he got deleted. Hang on. Weird. Okay. He is not in view of you. You do not know what he did, and it is Kip's turn.
Are there are there any blasters? Like, did any dead people have blasters on them that you pick up?
You picked one up last game.
Oh, did I? Okay.
The guy whose arm I cut off.
Ah, that's right. Thank you. Okay, so Kip goes into the room. Hang on a second. He goes into the room. He sees that they're fighting a droid. And what else did he see?
You basically see Ishwar and Tyrus fighting a super battle droid. You see 2 other doors and an empty conference room.
He's going to attempt to make it behind Ishwar into the hallway, and he'll shoot anything he sees coming towards him.
Where are they on the map, out of curiosity, though, where they actually are?
Southwest.
That makes sense?
Say that again, please. I was fixing something.
Oh, he's going to move through the door, or basically he's going to maneuver behind Ishwar to that door and go to the hallway. He's just assuming that Ishwar is going to kill that battle droid.
Okay.
Yeah, Ishwar is urging you to go that way too. He's kind of like motioning for you. He's like pointing with.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go down to the hallway, and then he's literally gonna shoot anything that is coming towards him.
Are you entering the droid lab? Are you?
Door's open.
I don't know where the droid lab is. Sorry.
The door
All right.
you're
See, the
standing
only room that you currently can't see is a closed door right in front of you, and that's the droid lab. And then otherwise, you can see the rest of the map. So.
Oh yeah, no, sorry. That's literally he's gonna enter whatever the droid lab then. Because I thought that was a hallway, but yeah, that's what he does.
Okay, so as you walk in here and you survey the room, you can see 3 dead bodies on the ground, and they've been literally cut in twain in an extremely gory and violent fashion. There was a there's sort of a table or platform on the north end of the room where there was some equipment that has just been pulled out of its setting, and you can still see like active power connections and things sparking that something was ripped out in a hurry.
I see.
Kirk can't die, he is an evil cat in his lap.
So, but I see nothing else in the room. Is there another doorway out of this?
Not that you can see. You can roll a hard perception check if you'd like.
Okay.
Well, does the fact that Kirk's Victor told us that he left through some kind of secret passage in there give him a vote?
Right. That's what I was about to ask too.
I
no,
did get an advantage on my roll. Can I use the advantage to give a boost dice to another player?
Yes, you could do that.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Teamwork.
So you can roll 1 boost dice on your hard perception check.
Okay. And he's going to use a destiny point. Do I do that? Do I add that, or do you add that?
Basically, you can either flip it over to the dark side if you want to, or I can do that. Doesn't matter. Either one of us can do it. And then basically you upgrade your skill check
I don't know how to
once.
flip it.
I did it for you. No problem.
Eat a plus green. Is that
Add
what I
1
do?
little green plus, yeah. And then go ahead and roll it.
Okay.
Okay, you rolled 2 successes. So as you survey the room, a little bit, maybe slightly nervous, which is slightly out of a character for you probably, but as you kind of look around, there is under one of the repair tables in the center, you locate a hatch that when it just doesn't look kind of naturally placed to you, and as you pull and pry it open, there is a button underneath, and when you press it, there seems to be a small square size, like very small, like 4 foot by 4 foot square that opens in the floor to a crawl tunnel.
I turn back and I say, Patron, Tyrus, and Ishwar, I have found the tunnel. And then I wait for them.
Okay, it is now the Arakid security officer's turn, the captain's turn. And you hear kind of very clearly over the intercom Rena's voice screaming something to him. And he turns and goes to a console, and you can see that you can hear over the intercom that it's his voice, and he is ordering all security forces to evacuate the area. And then Rena comes over the intercom and reiterates all security forces, please exit immediately. The building is on fire. This is for your own safety. And Bior, you smile to yourself for a moment.
Oh, hell yeah.
All right. So
For the rest
battle
of his
droid.
life, that guard's name was 7, because that's all the fingers he had.
The battle droid is going to take a swipe at you, Ishwar. Actually, he's going to fire his wrist-mounted blaster instead.
All right.
He gets the setback dice for being in melee. Correction, he is getting increased difficulty for being in melee. Alright, so as he pulls the blaster up close to you in point-blank range, he discharges as you try and flip out of the way, and it scorches the side of your ribs, and as you kind of get shot from it, as you roar out in pain.
But yeah, he's screaming at that. That's another 6 damage.
And Tyrus notes that Ishwar seems to be significantly injured as he's clutching his side. Next, all of a sudden,
even further, the frothy drool dripping from his mouth as he.
Bior, suddenly a door opens in front of you with nobody there.
So those 2 guards that are in front of me are not there?
No, the 2 guards are there, but the door directly north of where you're standing opens as if someone is physically there, and then you don't see anyone. And suddenly behind you, you see a flash of red light.
I turn around.
Oh, Bior sees that. Gotcha. Okay.
As you see this Cathar, Rodak Kresh, take a swipe at you, I will allow you to use your parry talent, if you would.
Oh, yes, most definitely I'm gonna use that talent.
Alright, so parry is okay, when you suffer a hit, after damage is calculated but before soak is applied, character may take a parry incidental. He suffers 3 strain and reduces the damage dealt by that hit by a number equal to 2 plus his ranks in parry. So you have 3, so you would reduce the damage by 5, but you need to add 3 strain to your character sheet. And I will allow you to do that.
No problem.
So as out of the corner of your eye, Bior, all of a sudden, and you knew something was up when that door opened, but you see from behind your right shoulder this red streak as it's coming down, obviously attempting to decapitate you. And you lift up your ignited weapon, and as you meet the red blade, they hiss and sizzle, and the plasma fire from your blade actually like glows for a moment as you see these sort of drippy sparks kind of coming off of your weapon. And even though it takes all of your strength to resist that sort of brutal assassin's hit, you're able to deflect it and push it off to your right side, and you kind of get grazed by it slightly. He did roll a triumph, so... Alright, so he is going to actually... Alright. You parry the first hit, and as he does, he spins around to the side and takes the second hit down towards your leg. He has the linked quality on his weapon, which if he rolls a critical, he gets a second hit. So he hits one additional time the same target at base damage plus... Okay. So your total damage reduced by 5. He gets another hit at base damage, which is 6. Alright, so it's 11 minus your soak. And your soak is 4, right?
Good lord. Yeah.
Alright, so you took 7 damage.
Yow.
So you're at 9 wounds out of 14. As you can't help but feel a flash of terror because you've never seen anything like this before. You have never seen someone who radiates such strength and confidence and hatred. He is not the average mercenary that you are typically accustomed to fighting. And you find yourself surrounded, and perhaps for the first time, maybe a little bit unnerved.
Yeah, this is not looking good. Okay.
Are you going to say anything to your colleagues?
I need everyone to the main corridor. Stat. I'm surrounded here, including a Jedi assassin.
Ishwar, your turn.
I don't really have much of a choice. I'm gonna hack this battle droid. Gonna give it the old vibro axe. Whoops.
Ye old vibro axe. Okay, so you rolled...
Did he take a damage for shooting me last round?
He does, yeah. He does take a damage for shooting you, that's
I want to
right.
make sure that happened.
Okay, so you swing your vibroaxe and you kind of miss as he swipes to the side. And you did roll one advantage, so...
I will use that advantage to give, what's his name, a boost dice on his attack.
What's his name? Forehead?
The guy, standing next to us.
Tyrus, yes, okay.
Iris, yeah.
Anything else you want to do on your turn?
I can't communicate with anybody, so I will move. Let's say I kind of tripped that guy up with my vibro axe and then moved over here to this platform thing to see where the door is. And
so just to clarify, to get out of an engagement with someone, you have to spend an extra maneuver. So you took an action.
Oh.
You have one maneuver left. You can always generate an extra maneuver for yourself to use by taking 2 strains. So if you want to take 2 strain, you can get an extra maneuver to get away from him.
Yeah, I'll do that.
All right, so add 2 strain to your character sheet, and you took the 2 maneuvers necessary to get away from him. And what you see when you walk into the room is Kip pointing down to a hatch that is opened in the floor to a crawl space.
Yeah, I'll move over to it and open it up.
Crawl space is open. You will be able to get inside if you'd like to next turn. Okay, it is Tyrus's turn, actually. Realizing that he cannot use his force influence power against the droid, he decides to rely again on this weapon, which still feels quite awkward in his hand. However, he swoops his left arm back, freeing his cloak from sort of getting out of his way, and he does a swirling strike against the droid. This time I'm not going to forget the boost dice. And he does another hit across the chassis. And the droid is now pretty severely damaged at this point. Tyrus remains in the room with the droid, and it is now...
It is who?
It is now one of the security personnel's turns. He moves. He is currently in the hangar. He moves to do something which you cannot immediately witness. Security personnel 2, it is now his turn. He turns and runs from you, Bior. He flees out of the room and disappears. He is missing, half of his hand. His weapon is sort of dangling, like, uselessly from his other hand as he's kind of panicking and running at full speed.
Thank God.
And security personnel 3 is in the hangar as well, out of your view. You're not sure what he's up to. And all of a sudden, Rodek vanishes. Jensa, it is your turn.
Oh, fuck.
How much of this can I see?
If you maneuver your ship directly in front of the force field, so you're head-on barreling down it, you can probably see most of the room that's not obscured line of sight.
So what
Alright, so
I see in the hangar is
you see one damaged starfighter, a second starfighter which is powered up and getting loaded to leave. Then you see a large Davro-class transport in the back. And you see active, there are sort of some personnel, you can't quite make out what's going on, but they're loading some things on the transport.
the force field's still up in my way.
Force field is still up.
Can I take her place in the turn order?
Yeah, if she's okay with that.
Yeah, I'm gonna basically hold for reactionary.
Okay, Victor, you're taking. We're gonna go in order, but Victor, you're gonna be acting now.
May I attempt to open the force field?
Yes,
In the
from
hangar?
here you can attempt to do that, actually. And at this point, with what you've done to the system, it is actually just an average computer's check.
There we go. I
Nice.
say, Jensa, 1 sec, getting the doors open.
Wow.
When it acknowledges, I say, fire away.
How do you want to spend your triumph?
Let me see.
Open your own door.
Pew 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 pew.
Can I spend the triumph to open the Durasteel blast-proof doors that are
With the
locking me in?
triumph, yes, you absolutely can. You managed to figure out how
Take it
to
out.
override the blast doors, which have otherwise trapped you, and they suddenly open.
We're not
Well done.
freezing to death or risk it burning alive.
Yeah, with my maneuver, time to go. I'm gonna run as far as I can. Help me determine how far that would be.
You can run. Let's see, you took an action, so you can move into the next room, basically.
I will
Like-
spend 2 strain to haul even more ass.
All right, you can make it all the way to the long hallway leading up to the hangar.
Any further than that?
Yeah, you can get up to the door to the hangar, actually. Like right up to that area.
All right, I don't want to open the door this turn. So I will intentionally not trigger it and wait for my next action.
All right, and
As I am running down the hall, I will call into comms. Actually, never mind. They know Jensen's blasting the hangar, so I will let them figure that out in their own time.
I can't really see them, so I'm blasting the
Yeah.
crap out of those.
Yeah, I don't want to open the door because I don't want to get shot with a starship weapon.
Exactly.
you don't want to get vaporized,
Sounds like a good
insta-jibbed.
idea to me.
So I'm going to run as close to the door without triggering it. Kind of off to the side. Little wall security if I can.
As you do, you see the door of the bedroom behind you open, and you see Rena open the door and say, "Hey, are you okay? I'm in here. I don't want to leave until you guys are out. If there's anything you need that I can help with, I'm happy to help." And then she ducks
All right,
back into
we'll
the room.
interact with her next turn.
Okay, all of a sudden, one of the starfighters attempts to take off and leave the hangar. Jensa, I want you to roll your gunnery skill. So basically, double click your gunnery skill.
Alright.
And you're going to be versing their piloting, which is going to be...
I would
It
like
is
to
one-
spend a force.
It is 1 purple and 1 red dice. That's the contested roll.
I would like to spend a force point for this. And didn't you say if I was waiting reactionally, I'd have a boost? Is that what you said?
No, not a boost, but you can spend to upgrade the roll with a destiny
I
point.
will upgrade the roll.
All right, roll it. We're gonna see if your itchy trigger finger is faster than his piloting.
Well, it's gonna suck if not, because I'm right in front of him. I'm literally parking in the mouth of the hangar.
I mean, wouldn't she get a boost because he can't really maneuver?
Yeah, I know. How's he taking off? I'm like literally parked to block the hangar.
How is he dodging?
Yeah,
Now
that's
he's just streaking out. Basically, he's streaking out of the bay, and you're seeing if you can hit him before. It's just an aim
It's
thing.
a reaction.
So,
Yeah, it's a reaction speed, I guess.
I'm giving.
I
In
don't
other
know
words,
how you-
I'm accounting for his fair chance to counter you because I was allowing something which isn't allowed in the game in the first place. Like you can't ready maneuvers, ready actions in this game typically. So you actually miss, but I was going to say that you hit the fuel room, but you rolled an advantage, so I'm not. So you miss and hit the walls, and he streaks out of the bay, and he takes off into the storm, and seems to be trying to turn around.
Shit.
Jensa, I'm actually, we didn't really fully resolve your actual turn this round, so is there anything else you want to do?
Well, I was basically waiting for the shields to go down so I could light up the hangar. I was just basically sitting there the second the shields dropped, I was gonna just light the hangar up. So I'm literally, like, the way I thought I was, like, literally blocking the way. Which ship left?
Would your character be aware of the fact that they have transported the goods? That they have the
I only
goods in
have
that
I only have what they went over
Yeah.
comms, but my plan
Yeah,
was to
we
destroy
said
everything
it
in the
on-
hangar.
Yeah, he did.
Okay, so your character would know that the stuff you're trying to get has been evacuated from the droid lab and is probably in the hangar bay, if that affects your decision.
The stuff we're actually trying to get.
In other words, the Remus
Yes.
technology you're trying to recover, you would reasonably understand is probably in the hangar bay from what your companions have told you. That may or may not affect your decision.
Okay, so which one took off? The one in front of the transport, like blocking the transport's way out, or the other?
The one that is the other one, not the one in front of the transport. The one that is in its own lane.
If I obliterate the one in front of the transport, would the transport be able to get out?
Yeah, he would just have to maneuver through the other exit, but
If I move to block the other exit with my ship and obliterate the other transport, would he be able to?
if you shoot the transport, is that what you're saying?
No, I don't want to blow it up because what we want might be in there. But the other fighter, sorry, the other fighter.
Oh yeah, you could totally shoot the other fighter and create it in a blow.
I want to
pieces.
shoot the other fighter to block one way out, and I'm going to physically block the other one with my ship, which is what I thought I was doing in the first place, but apparently I wasn't. So
Okay,
I was
yeah,
just-
you can do that. So
can
roll
I
me
actually like physically block one way out and then blow the other ship up to block the?
roll me a gunnery skill check, and it is going to be 1 purple dice. Because you're essentially at point blank range.
Woo!
That is something
How
else.
does that happen?
Okay, so you rolled a failure and like 5 advantage. So, so you missed the ship somehow and hit the decks, and you see like it's just some streaks and burning as the deck kind of like instantly ignites on fire from your hit. How do you want to spend those 5 advantage?
What can I do with those? It's been a while.
Can she convert some of them into successes or no?
I am sharing with you guys the sheet. It should come up, spending dice results in vehicle combat. You can add boost dice to people. You can temporarily, if you hit, you can temporarily disable part of the enemy ship.
Oh, it's-
So you can read over that, and I'll let you take a moment to look at it, and we'll let you think about it as we go on to the next person. You can tell me how you want to dispend them. So security personnel number 1. Okay, so Bior, even though you are majorly effed up at the moment and perhaps slightly panicked from what you just saw, which was frankly out of your nightmare, the guard in the far corner looks up at you for a minute and thinks of shooting you, and then really he just turns and runs out of the room as well.
Oh, thank
But
God.
Victor, as he does, he runs straight into you.
So with 3 of them,
And-
I'll be real quick.
Go ahead.
When dealing damage to an opposing vehicle or ship, the shot temporarily damages a component of the attacker's choice.
You have to actually hit, though, for that to be possible. Like, if it's a miss with advantage, you can't disable anything because you didn't hit in the first place. Vic, as you see this guy come, like, barreling through the door, like, running like a bat out of hell, you're startled by you standing there, and he just fires in your direction.
Does my disguise get any play in this? I am dressed like a security guard.
Yeah, he actually is. Because he's firing out of panic and not out of an intent to aim, he has 2 setback dice to the roll. Okay, so as he does that, after the second shot he fires in this flurry of blaster bolts, you see him pull the trigger and it just clicks with nothing else. He seems to be out of ammo. He does hit you, however.
May I use the reflect ability?
Can I use this to give party members in the hangar an advantage with their next checks, like the fire and smoke? That's what we'll do with it then.
Perfect.
Like, I can probably give multiple people advantage. So basically, I'm giving them cover fire inadvertent.
That only takes 2, I think, so you can give 2 people a boost dice to whatever you want.
I will go with Ishwar and Bior because they're the only 2 in there with combat ability, if I remember correctly.
All right, and Victor, yes, you can pull out your phase
coming
knives.
outside, right?
I instinctively draw one of my phase knives and attempt to reflect the bolt.
So
without
you have
even thinking about it.
You have a very special set of legendary phase knives, which normally wouldn't be permitted to do this, but you can control the blade length. And as you flick it out without even thinking, you kind of use your thumb on the roller to like set up to maximum blade length. And for reflect, you can negate how much damage? You have 1 rank, so it is...
I currently have 1 rank of reflex. I would...
It's 2 plus ranks in reflect, right?
So I deflect 3 of the damage, so I take 4.
All right, so add the strain to your character sheet, please.
How much is it again? I can't read the details of the skill right now.
Hang on 1 second.
I'm trying to access it. Sorry, I didn't expect to get shot.
It is 3 strain. 3 strain. So add 3 strain to your character sheet. The damage is reduced by 3, so it's 4 damage, and then we have to take into account your soak. So you take... Wait, do you not have any soak? You have 3 soak.
I do have soak. I have 3, so I take 1
I'm
damage.
reducing that by 3, so...
No, I've got it set. I already clicked it.
No, but you had 8 damage, so it should be 5.
Yeah, I had 8 because I typed 4, then you put 4 on me.
So your net damage now should be 5 instead of 8.
No, 1 is the damage.
The damage was... You had damage already on your character.
I didn't. So you did 4 damage, so I typed 4, and then you put 4 on top of that to make it 8. And then you reduced it down to 5. I have not been wounded before this guy shot me.
This is true.
Like, I typed it in myself, and then you input it.
Oh,
subsequently.
okay. Yeah, I saw something already there. So actually, I just drag it from the thing onto your sheet, so it automatically applies it. So
I take 1 damage.
Yeah, okay, good. Thank you. Bior.
Wow. All right.
Wow. Wow, bro.
Yeah, it's not good for me. right, so is there a way that I could is there a way that I could possibly sense this person?
Do you have the force sensibility?
I sure don't.
Then no.
So there's no way. Okay. Well then. Damn. All right. Well then, definitely let me try and heal myself. Can I do a force heal?
You absolutely can, and I would highly recommend it. Your intellect is now greater than it was before because you took dedication. So you're going to be rolling your 2 force dice because you have a force rating of 2, if I recall, right?
Right. And that's it, just the 2 force dice, right?
Right. Roll your 2 force dice.
Ooh. Wow.
Oh, that sucks. Okay, so yeah, I mean, just due to the trauma that you have recently felt and witnessed and the touch of the dark side around you, you cannot quite reach into your power as you usually do, but you're free to use those 3 dark side points if you choose.
Well,
I would point out, though, that would involve taking 3 strain. So, I mean, you could choose to take 1 or 2 of the points instead of all 3. I'll leave it up to you.
Oh, because taking the dark side will add strain.
Yeah, when you take
And
a dark
strain will
side
knock
point,
you out,
it
right?
adds a strain and a conflict.
The strain is how you basically start to like go towards death, right? Like you build up enough strain and
you
enough
pass out.
damage, and you pass out.
Sort of like,
You
it's
start
like your
getting
energy
penalties,
points,
it's like
sort of.
snowball effect, right?
Shit.
Choose wisely, Bior.
Actually, think about this. Would Bior even care about, does he even know enough about the Force, or care at this point whether or not how he's touching the
Yeah, where does that power come from? Does he?
You know, I'm gonna use him because Bior's so pissed off at how cowardly this guy attacked him that in his rage he's gonna heal himself. to be able to
Yes,
look for this guy.
use the anger.
And
Good.
when we use dark side,
Use
we're all
the
gonna blame it on the lightsaber.
All right, Bior, so go ahead and add 3 strain. And you actually get to, oh wow, you have, if I'm not mistaken, that's a lot of healing. Hang on, it's for every point you use, you get to heal your intellect, so that's 9 points of healing.
Sweet.
So basically, you describe what this looks like, because you basically fully heal yourself with the Force, with the dark side of the Force.
Yeah. So I'm like crouched down on a knee, holding. Where exactly did he hit me? Like
The
on
leg.
the lower end, right? On a leg. So I with my lightsaber is still active. I look at it, and I grip my teeth. I scream a little bit because I'm so pissed off, and I lay my hand like about an inch over it, and just touch that dark side, man.
And you mend
Throw
the
me
actual
on the doll.
wound. You see that burning slash in your leg actually knit back together, and it leaves a kind of weird looking scar that's kind of purplish and discolored, but the skin knits back together, and you feel this rush of relief. You have a maneuver left if you want to use it.
There's a lot of people in that hangar.
You don't know that.
Yeah, right. But you do know that we need to go there.
But I did hear explosions in the hangar, right?
You did, yeah.
Do I know that Rena is in the hallway ahead of me, to the north of?
You know that she ran into that hallway, but you don't know what happened to her after that, except that you heard her over the intercom ordering all the guards to evacuate.
And during this time, have I seen the door to the east of me mysteriously open up?
You have not.
All right, so I want to stay. I'm gonna run forward. I'm gonna run north, and I'm gonna stay in that doorway to keep an eye on the door to my east.
Okay, that door opens, and you see in front of you the guard that just took a pot shot at Victor. And that will conclude your turn. Victor has already acted, so it's Kip.
Kip says, I think I'll go first. And he goes down into the escape tunnel. Does he have to crouch? How tall is this escape tunnel?
No, it's a crawl space, so you got to get down and crawl.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I definitely do that.
You come out behind a box of crates in the hangar bay where you see, actually, I'm going to correct one thing. There's only 2 guys in there now because one of them flew the starfighter out.
Okay.
So that bro is gone. Okay, so you see a captain and one of the other guards. The guard with the pistol is running up the ramp, and you can see him carrying the Remus technology as he's loading it up onto the transport. The other guard is just kind of standing there surveying the scene, making sure everything's okay. He noticed Jensa, of course, firing into the hangar, and it looks like he's about to do something about that, so... However, it is your turn, so...
What do you mean he looks like he's about to, like...
He is turning with an intent like he is going to react. That's all you can tell at this point.
What is he carrying in his hand? Can I see, like, so we have one guard who is in the... Are they positioned where they are positioned on this map?
He is currently loading something onto the ship.
Got it. Okay. Kip.
And to answer your question, you see him carrying a blaster rifle.
But he's also carrying something in his hand, like bulky, right? So I mean, the guy who's loading, does he have any weapons?
He has a pistol, which is currently in a holster because he's carrying a box up onto the ship.
Right. Okay. Kip is just gonna straight up fire at the security guard, or the one that's out in the open, the officer.
Okay, the captain that is standing out in the open?
Do I get a boost for him not knowing or seeing me or not seeing me?
Okay, so here's how it's going to work. This room is currently filled with smoke. You get 1 setback dice, you get 1 boost dice for surprising him, and you're going to be making it at easy difficulty due to the short range of the attack.
Okay, hang on, let me go to my combat. So let's see, I have 1 setback, 1 boost,
and then one purple
difficulty.
dice.
Okay. Damn it.
All right, so you missed, but you got 2 failures, but you got 5 advantage. So I'll leave that up to you how you want to spend that.
The next advantage is going to be for Ishwar to travel through that really small tunnel as quickly as possible.
Make him grab the attack.
Oh, can I do that?
Do what, please? Repeat that.
What was that? What was that, Ishwar?
Like maybe his blast startled him and made him drop the tech.
Yeah. Can I do that?
It was the other guy carrying the things on the ship than the one you shot.
Okay.
But how about the guy who was turning around to do something? If he had anything in his hands, would I startle him such that he gets a setback on whatever he's about to do?
Yes, you can spend your because you rolled a lot of advantage. You can spend all those advantage if you'd like, and I can basically state that he's disarmed for a round as he maybe dropped his rifle in surprise.
I'll do that. I'll do that.
That works. You can do
I
that.
startled him.
How did I miss a craft right in front of me? Twice.
Lady Luck, I guess.
Yeah, it's just bad luck.
Got a
Bad
big
luck or
engine.
good skill. On
No training in gunnery.
So
That's also an issue.
the security officer
not a
actually
gunner,
that you
I'm
just fired at,
Gunners
he
inside
was
the
so
business.
shocked by you firing at him that he kind of fumbles with his rifle and drops it on the floor, and he spends his maneuver reaching down to pick it up. However, he fumbles again, drops it on the floor again, and he reaches down to pick it up, expending his turn. And it is now the droid's turn, who is faced with Tyrus, and Tyrus and the droid are locked in what is Tyrus's first lightsaber combat. The droid turns to Tyrus, actually, sensing that it is in danger, and begins to charge up its lightning rod protocol. He activates this.
Takes the damage.
He takes damage. Thank you for reminding me. Thank you for reminding me. I need that. So he spends a maneuver to activate this mode for 2 rounds. Any hit by a melee attack that generates a despair causes the attacker to automatically be hit for 8 strain damage, so stun damage. And 2 threat cause the attacker to become disoriented for 1 round. And he takes a fire at Tyrus.
You cut off.
And he shoots
No, I
at
heard it.
Tyrus. And does Tyrus have reflect? I'm hoping he does. Be a shame if I killed him. Okay. He does have reflect. Okay,
be
so he's
okay
gonna
with it.
take 3
That would
strain.
suck so bad.
It does. It sucks. It sucks. All right, so he takes 3 strain and flips Tal Shandir up this like gleaming rapier to deflect the attack. And it now deals 3, 4, 5. So it deals 5 damage to him. Does he have any soak? 2. So he takes 3 damage. So he gets hit slightly by the attack, deflects it beautifully with this gleaming rapier, as a wrinkle in his forehead appears. And all of a sudden, Kip, before you, you see this Cathar appear again out of nowhere next to the captain, as he turns and levels his eye towards you and says, "The game is afoot." And he jumps, he sort of force leaps straight next to you and takes a slash at you with this menacing double-bladed lightsaber.
That door hasn't popped open, has it?
It has not.
Get in there, Bior.
Do you have reflect? Do you have parry or anything like? Oh, you don't have a lightsaber. Okay,
Get in
so
there, Bior.
8 damage. So he swipes at you, and as you dive backwards, he slashes through the crates and hits your shin, causing like a deep gash that burns.
Ah!
As he laughs, and you look in his eyes, and they are just gleaming with menace. Ishwar, it is your turn.
Okay. Will it take 1 movement to get to Kip?
Yeah, you spend your maneuver, and you're gonna appear directly next to Kip.
Okay. I will use a force dice, light side token, and I will Vibro Axe this Sith motherfucker.
Yeah.
Get him.
Roll that shit.
So I roll. I put that. I put in
2 purple dice.
purple.
You have 1 black dice, but remember, there's a boost dice that was assigned to you before, so it's a black dice and a boost
True.
dice.
get up, and I get a boost up.
And now you're gonna spend one of your light side points, one of the destiny points, so you get to hit the green plus to upgrade the difficulty of your attack.
Believe I did.
Okay.
Oh, okay. I thought I just hit the green. Okay, you got it for me.
Roll it.
All right, and roll. Oh.
Okay, so
Nice.
Yeah.
as you take a just vicious, angry, enraged sweep, he flips
+2
up.
damage.
Okay, so he flips up his double-bladed lightsaber to try and parry your attack, but as he does, it slides down the energy blade, and he loses control of it, and it still takes a gash out of his arm. So he has parry, so let's see how that works. He has parry 3, so he's taking 3 strain. To parry your attack, and he only takes 2 damage, but you get to roll a critical hit. You rolled a triumph, so it's going to be a critical hit plus 30. Am I correct?
Yes, critical hit plus 30.
God, what came out of that tunnel was hell.
Oh my god,
And yeah, he's angry. And
that's pretty bad.
How does the thunder work?
With my triumph, do I also get to add sunder to it since it's a triumph?
No, you'd have to choose whether you're sundering or doing a critical
I'll take
hit.
the critical way over
Yeah, I would
triumph.
too, considering what you rolled.
Yeah.
All right, so he is overpowered. So in other words, you swipe down, striking his hand and fingers and arm, and he loses control of the weapon for a moment and drops his guard. You get another free attack.
I will do so.
Using the exact same dice pool that you had last time. So you need to look at those dice on the screen, roll it all again just like that.
Dude.
Even with the setback
Force
dice?
point.
Everything, exactly the same. The dice pool's
We're out of
exactly the
force.
same.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Oh snap,
I'll take
okay.
it.
Wow.
All right, so the 2 threat, let me see what that's gonna do.
Guard. The guard over there can pick up his gun. How about
All right, so he gets to perform an immediate free maneuver, and he staggers backwards, a little bit stunned at your ferocity. He was not expecting it.
you did add the 2 damage for me being a Wookiee that's severely injured, plus 2 damage for both those attacks.
All right, so now he is severely wounded, and he runs back into the ship.
And you just hear this guttural, angry, violent animal just screaming in the.
I guess he's never met a Wookiee before.
Never make it Wookiee
Yo,
angry.
you destroyed this guy.
Tyrus, stuck with this battle droid, he is determined to take him down. He takes a step backwards, swoops his cloak back, takes another lunging step forward, and attacks with Tal Shindir. Scoring a beautiful hit across his chest.
Nice. Tyrus,
And the
nice.
battle droid actually kind of falls to one knee and starts to like glitch out as Tyrus smirks with this kind of bemused look as he raises an eyebrow and positions himself to take a fatal strike the next round. And it is currently security personnel's turn. Okay, where is security personnel? Is he still alive?
There's one on the deck of the ship. There's one near the crane, and there's one in the hallway.
Oh, security personnel. Okay, so he drops the crate that he's carrying on the ship. He gets behind cover, kneels down, and he fires at Kip.
Okay. I have defense 1 for ranged.
Oh yeah,
know
yes,
what that
please, all of you tell me if you have ranged defense, because I have not been applying them. If you have a ranged or melee defense, that attack gets a setback dice against you, so please remind me of those. Alright, so Kip, he manages to hit you with his blaster pistol.
Okay. I have soap 2.
As you take a strike straight to your left shoulder, as you spin back and fall behind the crate slightly, the reality of the moment sets in as the world kind of blurs for a moment, and you see kind of this vision kind of spinning down into almost like a point for a second as it comes back slowly, and you can hear your heartbeat in your ears. Security personnel 2 is... I think he's gone. Okay, so we're gonna remove him. And security personnel 3 is flying the ship. He takes a maneuver, Jensa, you see on your sensors as this starfighter spins around and makes an attack strafing run at your ship. And he takes a shot. And as he hits, let me see if his weapon has a critical. No critical, okay. So as he hits, you feel a hit on the shields as the ship vibrates for a moment. And the Errant Seeker takes some damage. Let's see. Has 3 armor, so it takes 5 damage. And it is now Jensa, it is your turn.
I am going to continue to fire to block anybody from getting out of this shuttle thing, and I'm going to say over the comms, "What are you guys doing in there?"
What are you firing at?
Well, you can see the combat going on in the hangar now.
Yeah, you saw.
Can I with fire and everything? Because last round I.
There is fire and it's hard to see, but you can see commotion in there, and you did see some blaster fire and what looked like some spinning red lightsaber like flipping around.
That looks bad.
And you have a starfighter attacking you from the other side.
Okay, this starfighter, is it in range?
It is in range, yes. It is currently in short range to you.
I'm going to shoot at it this round.
Now you have a 360-degree turret, so even though you're facing the hangar, the turret spins around the other side, and you're going to make a gunnery skill check with 1 purple dice. If you have any unspent boost dice that they did not use, you can add 1 to this attack.
Add what, 5?
Yes.
She spent 4, so
Yeah.
So you can add 1 to this attack.
Nice.
All right, and actually, when
That's
you
a
roll
critical
that,
on that
roll
gun,
it
isn't
from your ship's weapon. So your laser cannon does 6 damage, so it's 7
is.
damage, and you got 3. How do you want to
Critical
spend the
on
3
the laser
advantage?
cannon is 3.
The three advantage.
Yeah.
That's how much that critical costs.
I'll take a critical.
Oh, yeah, you could take a vehicle critical, so let's roll that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, oh my god, really?
Wow, nice.
Nice.
Okay, wow. So 83. Shields down. Defense in the affected zone reduced to 0. So as you fire on his ship and you do 7 damage, which I need to keep track of. Okay, so as you spin the turret around and fire, you do a direct hit right on his forward-facing shields as you see a series of sparks blow out of his engines, and the shields flicker and go down. He is actually severely damaged. You can see the ship is actually on fire. And
Nice shot.
security personnel 1 is standing, and he is now surrounded by Bior and Victor, and he turns to look at you guys and raises his hands and drops his pistol, surrendering. And he lays down on the floor and puts his hands on his head. Bior, it's your turn.
All right, so I assume I heard Kip scream, the Wookiee go crazy. Did I hear all of
Yeah,
that?
you heard that.
You heard
Yeah,
it.
there's no way you didn't hear that.
All right. So I run into this room Can
And
I
as
do a
the-
really quick analysis of the situation?
As the door opens, you see
Go ahead.
sort of fire in the distant hangar, smoke filling the room. You see a guard captain there who looks disheveled as he just sort of picked up his weapon. You can see Kip almost looking like he's gonna fall out and faint, but he kind of regains his composure. Ishwar, although heavily damaged, looks like foaming at the mouth, enraged. And you can see the Crimson Dawn guy actually retreating into his ship as you walk into the room.
Do I notice the item that we're here to get? Anyway.
You don't know where it is at the moment.
All right. Damn. All right. So I see what I call the assassin. I see him.
Yeah, you can see him. He's actually run back into the ship, and if your eyes do not deceive you, you see fear. The guard captain that's standing before you, he appears pretty much undamaged. And your two companions next to you are severely injured, so I'll leave that for you to decide what to do.
I can only use one force ability per turn.
It is an action, so you have one action per turn and one maneuver, unless you take strain to get a second maneuver.
All right, so
And don't forget, you can use maneuvers that you don't need instead of wasting them and not spending them in that turn. You can use them to aim, so you can give boost dice to your next attack. You can use them to assist or take a guarded stance so that you add additional setback dice to your opponents. You can always spend maneuvers, even if you're not moving.
all right, so I want to force heal Ishwar.
All right, so you turn and you look at Ishwar, and you can tell that he is, you know, sort of significantly wounded,
Yeah.
but he's standing strong. So go ahead and roll your
I smell the burnt hair.
roll your
You see
two
the
force
burnt
dice, please.
wound. Nice.
Okay, so you roll two light side points, two dark side points, so you can succeed without actually having to take any more dark side points.
Oh, thank God.
Describe for us what you see before you, and you are going to recover 6 hit points, Ishwar. So you can reduce your wounds by 6.
So,
Exactly half my damage.
so as I'm healing him, I'm like, we need you here, friend. You're doing way too much damage. And you said I could spend 2 strain for another maneuver?
You can spend 2 strain to take a second maneuver, although I would say a maneuver is not an action, meaning you can't use another force power attack, but you can move or aim or get into a guarded stance. I'm not sure necessarily that's worth 2 strain in this case, but that's up to you to decide.
Well, I'm nervous about them flying away, is what I'm nervous.
Okay, so you're thinking move towards them.
Yes.
Okay, so yes, you can add 2 strain to your character sheet, so go from 7 to 9, and you can move. You can move within short range, so you basically would get right up to the ramp of the ship, but you're not engaged with them in melee.
All right, then I'll do that.
All right, and that brings us to you, Victor.
So I look at her in response to her question. I say, "You want to help? Tell your people to fire on the Crimson Dawn."
She nods to you and turns and starts talking into her communicator.
I am going to make my way to the floor of the hangar. Sorry, probably cut out. And when I'm about here, can I see the Remus tech at all?
You can't really see it. You're not sure where it is at the moment.
Kip, come jump on this ship and.
Is it
do
a
the
perception to maneuver check? Sorry, to do perception, just to look around?
In this case, I would grant you just a free perception roll. I don't have any
All
problem
right,
with that.
let me make the perception check to see if I spot the tech.
It's going to be
Average?
a hard perception check. And remember, one black dice. You have to roll one black dice. Because it's filled with smoke. Unless you have keen-eyed. If you have keen-eyed, you don't.
I
But...
do not. So come on, come on.
All right, so you succeed with one threat. So you cough and are a little bit sort of overtaken by the smoke for the moment. But since you rolled one success, your eyes instantly lock onto the behind the ramp of the ship, behind the security guard with the pistol in his hand. You see a crate, and it's marked Remus on the side.
So the crate isn't in the ship, correct?
The crate is in the ship, and you can see it from where you're standing. So the ramp is down. The ship is not yet, in motion in any way. So they're both standing at the top of the ramp on the ship. And the crate is behind the security guard.
But he's not holding it, right?
He is no longer holding it. He picked up his pistol to fire.
All right. I am going to try and sneak away with the crate.
Oh, and by the way, I should point out there is a crane in the room as well. So you're going to have to move onto the ship and pick up the crate and move off the ship, which is going to be
And I will spin
a lot of
the
maneuvers.
strain, and I'm using. Okay, is that too many maneuvers?
So it's going to take two. So you're going to be engaged with two people. So it's going to take two maneuvers to get into engaged range with them, and then a maneuver to pick it up.
But if they don't see me, am I engaged?
Engaged means range.
No, he
not,
needs to get into engaged range.
yeah,
You
it means
need to be
like you're
next to it,
standing
that's what
right next to someone who's in front of you, basically. So there's engaged range, short range, medium range, long range.
Yeah, I think the idea behind the question is, if somebody can't see me, do I have to spin the extra maneuvers to get through engaged range? Because if I'm to where they can't see me.
I think, as the rules are written, you do, yes, because it's more a discussion of the range rather than them interacting with you or threatening you. So if you basically take 2 strain, you can get onto the ship, potentially unnoticed, although you're going to have to roll a stealth roll. And you can pick up the crate, but you can't leave in that same turn.
Nope. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna shoot the crate with my ascension pistol, and I'm gonna yank it.
Yes.
Oh, that's good thinking.
Awesome.
That is good thinking. Okay. It is currently about medium range for you, so it's 2 purple dice and 1 black dice for the smoky conditions to hit.
All right, we got no force points, so here it goes.
You got this.
All right, you got it. Yes.
Oh my god, that is interesting. Okay, so you miss. You do not hit the crate with the ascension pistol. But how would you like to spend that triumph? I'm willing to give you leeway here.
I actually hit the Sith Lord and yank him out of the ship.
All right, I will allow that. Actually, you hit the Sith
That's
Lord,
so awesome.
and the cable digs into his shin as he howls in pain. And as you activate the, if I'm not mistaken, though, I think it involves you making some kind of additional athletics check or something. Average range light check, and then you have to. Okay, so you have to make an average athletics check for me right now, please. So you succeed with 1 advantage. So you actually yank back as you retract, and you knock him prone, and he's dragged out of the ship halfway to you by the end of the turn, with the cable still in his leg.
And I will use my advantage to give a boost dice to the first person to attack.
Yes, you have created a prone and vulnerable individual. And it is now Kip's turn.
No. Kip
Get the
is
tech.
going. No, Kip is going to. Yeah, Kip is going to move into the area, and basically, that's one maneuver, right?
Okay, so your maneuvers, you're moving into short range is one maneuver. If you're moving into engaged range with someone, that's two maneuvers. But you can move into short range to get to the crate without having to get engaged with the other guy.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I'm going to get the crate. So that's one maneuver,
Yes, and a second maneuver to pick up the crate.
right? And then,
Can he action to
Can I-
pick up
can
the
I-
crate?
yeah, can I action to pick up the crate and then get strain to move out?
So you spent one maneuver. You can basically, you have an action and a maneuver. You spent strain to get a second maneuver. You can downgrade your action to a third maneuver if you want to.
Yeah, I want to basically move in, pick up, move out.
Yep.
I'm
go
gonna
ahead
move
and do it.
behind the Wookiee. That's what I do.
So you have the crate in your
add
hands
strain.
as you hear Rodek
And I'm
crash.
really behind the Wookiee.
Yeah, you hear Rodek Kresh like shriek in anger as he says, "No! That belongs to the Crimson Dawn!" And the Arakid security officer sees him and realizes that basically he's gonna die either way, no matter what he does, probably at this point. So he
Wait, hang on a second. Hang on. The Wookiee hears Kip say, "But I am Crimson Dawn."
Oh, so
Like
Ishwar hears
himself.
that. Ishwar hears
Like,
that,
he
right?
literally said- yeah, Ishwar literally hears like Kip say to himself, like it kind of like, but this is obvious. I am Crimson Dawn.
So the guard looks around the room trying to decide who to shoot at, and he sees Kip running away with the crate, and he seems like the most obvious target.
Wait, what? No, I whisper that to myself. I didn't read that. I didn't scream that out loud.
No, it's just because it's the guard's turn, and he
okay.
sees you running away with the crate. So he's actually going to throw a knockout grenade into the area with you and Ishwar standing there.
Sure.
He is taking a setback dice for that. He rolls 2 success, 3 advantage. So let's see how this works. He can spend 2 advantage to deal blast rating plus success to all characters with engaged range
You're
of target.
breaking up a lot. I can barely hear you. Just so you know.
Sounds fine to me.
Yeah, I heard him.
Okay, so what's basically going to happen is he is dealing strain damage, and blast damage. Hang on, blast 10. So okay, he is actually, as he throws the grenade into the group of you two, it goes off, and it's basically this blinding flash, and you hear nothing but concussion in your ears and this humming kind of tinnitus as the whole world kind of goes white, and you lose all your senses for a moment. Both of you take 10 strain damage.
Okay, does soak have anything to do with it?
In this case, no.
Okay.
Kip is knocked out. I now have 14, and my threshold is 13. And because of the extra maneuver, I moved up, so Kip is out.
So Kip, you are not in any way dead or anything like that. You are just knocked unconscious as the concussion grenade blows and you fade to black and fall to the ground, and the crate falls out of your hand and skitters into the corner. Ishwar, you are still conscious, but you can't really hear anything. All you hear is this humming in your ears, and you're struggling to regain your sight as all you can kind of see is this bleached white all around you.
All he sees.
Can I see this crate not in the ship anymore that the party mates are running after? I'm just trying to figure out what I can see because it's going to determine my exact.
On your turn, you can make a perception check to get that information.
Okay.
It is the battle droid's turn as he takes another shot.
Still alive?
He's still alive. You left poor Tyrus in there to
dude.
take him down. It's gonna take a while.
He takes the damage the second he does something. Is he still
He does.
up?
He takes another damage. He's 18 wounds out of 20 threshold. He takes another shot.
Thing's got a ridiculous.
That thing is tough.
Yo, we need to get one of those.
No shit.
And he misses, but he gets 3 advantage, so he is going to use that as a boost dice his next turn. His turn is over. Rodek's turn.
Well, if he was at 19 out of 20.
He's at 19 now, right?
He went from 17 to 18 for taking an action.
Oh, got it.
Rodek is on the ground. He spends a maneuver to flip himself up, sort of like Special Forces Van Damme style, back onto his legs again. As he looks down at his leg and hisses at you in anger, and he reaches his hand forward towards Victor. And Victor, all you see in front of you is sort of, well, let me roll for this first, just to make sure. All right, so he is rolling a force check. And okay, so he raises his hand towards you, Victor, and this purple energy swirls from his hands and hits, like, engulfs your body as you lift maybe 4 inches off the ground for a second, and all you can feel across every nerve ending in your body is this burning pain, just this searing pain everywhere. And you are taking 5 damage that is not reduced by soak, as you kind of feel your life force draining out of you, and it returns, and the purple energy swirls back to Rodek around him, and you see him kind of smiling glee as some of his wounds are healed.
Oh, damn.
And it is now Ishwar's turn.
So, Ishwar focused on this guy now, very still upset. Charges right at him, and again vibro axes. I will use my advantage that is offered to me by Victor.
All right, roll it.
It's a boost dice, right?
Yep.
You have to add one. You have to add one black dice in there, though.
One
For
black
the-
dice. Okay.
Yeah.
Still.
Okay,
I'll take
okay,
it.
well that doesn't count for much. All right, so you do 9 damage. We're gonna apply that first. Do I have to add anything else to that?
Well, the
Plus
pierce.
2
so
for his Wookiee rage.
Yeah, plus 2 for his
Yeah, you
Wookiee
plus
rage.
1 or plus 2.
And now
Well,
another
healed.
critical hit, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes, another critical hit. And it ignores 2 points of soak.
What did we roll? 36 plus he already had.
Plus
Hang on one
30.
second.
That's 66.
Oh, plus 30. Shit, he's probably dead. Hang on.
Because before it was 90.
So he
Yeah, that's
was
66.
Well, that's the second critical.
he was already at overpowered, and we're adding another what, 66 to that?
Yeah.
Yes.
146. Okay, so as you strike down at him, go ahead and describe for us what you see, because this is essentially a coup de grace hit here.
So Ishwar just kind of lowers his shoulders and charges like a linebacker with his vibro axe out in front of him. Just impales this guy and lifts him off the ground a good 6 feet, and is just screaming in his face while he's impaled on his vibro axe.
We so need Wookiee sounds for you.
Oh, you want that? Okay.
This deserves a Wookiee sound. You basically
Yeah, we need that.
rocked his
I think
world. You
just
basically
need-
took
need
down a
that
Dark
access
Force
to the
user of
vault.
great power.
Did you guys not hear that?
I didn't hear anything, and I want to hear it.
No.
Okay, I hear that.
So as you impale him on the end of your Vibrio axe and lift him up off the ground, you struck straight through his double-bladed lightsaber, just completely destroying it as it flickers out and the two pieces of the hilt fall down to the side. And although he's still alive, his hands go down to the haft of the Vibrio axe to try and somehow hold his weight off of it, as it just sinks deeper into him and blood is literally gushing out of his torso onto your hands, down the haft, onto the floor, and he meets your gaze for a second and spits right in your face. And as he falls off of the end of the blade,
smile.
he sits on the ground for a moment as everything goes kind of quiet, and he's sort of kneeling and breathing slowly. And as he's breathing, you see kind of blood gurgling out of the chest wound. You can see oxygen kind of bubbling out, like he obviously has a pierced lung. And he's just staring at you for a moment, and he laughs for a good moment, just He goes, making an enemy of the Crimson Dawn. You are dead men walking. And he looks up at you guys. And as he kind of slumps to the floor and leans back, he's just staring at you, Ishwar, as he's breathing. And the guard captain drops his weapon and raises his hands.
I'm kind of smoldering, and I look at him and I say, well, you're an actual dead man, Neil.
Yeah.
I'll take the trade.
Yeah, Ishwar, if there was still any kind of action left, would just curb stomp him. Like, he's that upset. He would literally just
Okay, so he's still alive right now. You're going to just sort of stomp him, right?
Yeah, he would. He is enraged, and he doesn't even want to hear what this guy has to say. He would just curb.
All right.
The only one that got anybody ID'd was Bior, and hopefully that chick wouldn't rat us out. So.
By the way, Ishwar, I am adding 2 conflict. Which for that action,
fine. No.
That's fine. You just stomp down on his skull with your foot as he's kind of slumped on the floor. He's about to say something probably intimidating and slightly sly to you, but as you stomp your foot down on him, you hear this crushing sound, and there's just sort of gush comes out of his ears, as just blood squirts out on the floor, and he slumps.
Don't piss off Wookiees, man.
The guard is literally so scared, the guard standing next to you, Ishwar, that you see a puddle of urine under his left leg.
That's a Wookiee win.
And he cowers down on the floor and covers his head.
And then after that, all concern turns to Kip. He's genuinely upset.
So I'm not 100% sure what's going on behind the back of the ship back there. Is that fighter still circling around?
He is still circling around, yes, and he's about to take another turn
I'm still
shortly.
technically in combat.
Yes, you are.
So let me know when it's my turn.
Your turn comes before him, so you get to take a hit.
Yeah. His shields are down. I am totally going to shoot at him, and I'm going to use my advantage. Did I have any leftover advantage that time?
No, you spent 3 for critical.
Okay. Well, his shields are down, so here's hoping I hit.
All right, so roll your gunnery with 1 purple dice.
Nice.
Ooh.
All right, so that is actually a lethal hit to the ship. So as you strike with the turrets upon his hull, you see the ship literally kind of split into 2 halves as it flies, and each half barely misses your hull as it kind of goes to each side of you and crashes into the rocks and into the stormy seas as the turret just smokes and turns back straight again. And you regard the chaos you see in the hangar bay.
Guys, what's going on in there? Can I see, they're mostly behind the back of that ship, and from the angle, I just don't see how I would possibly see what was going on at all. I definitely can't see Kip in the corner.
No, you're not sure of any of the details. All you can hear is howling, shooting, slicing, and some shouting. And otherwise,
Wookiee
just a lot of smoke
everywhere.
Yeah, the Wookiee shout carried pretty well.
Over the comms, even though he knows you probably can't understand, you do hear.
Is that the worried police? That sounds worried to me.
No. Well, sure, it could. Sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna assume that sounds weird. Do I see any more blaster fire or hear any more blaster fire?
No, actually not. For the moment, all is quiet.
I kind of lean against the wall, still smoking. I slide down of it as Rena comes running, and I call him back to Jinsa. We got him, and I think we got the tech too.
I'm going to immediately land on the pad right here on the lip and say, opening the hangar door.
Is anyone gonna open the hangar for her? Oh, you're gonna land
yeah,
right there.
no.
Okay, so no, yeah,
He's
it's
got a
actually the force
combat
field's already
Yeah,
down.
he's flattened on the lip.
So yeah, you precariously land right on this little lip, quite perfectly actually, and the hatch goes down in the back. And as you walk through the smoke, you see, you basically see Rena Varath run into the room as she realizes the danger is over, and runs straight up to Bior and throws her arms around his neck and hugs him for probably a good 2 minutes and doesn't say anything. And then she just looks up at him and says, "You saved my life. And I'm in deep shit for being involved in any of this. But if there's... The only thing I can say is, if they find out I helped you, I am dead. But if you make it look like you hurt me, I can go back. I can go back into Arakid. I can go back and I can help you guys. I can cover this up. I can be a contact for you. I don't know what to do other than to offer you that."
Rena, are you sure you can do this for us?
I can do this. I can cover this up. I can say that maniac that they got in bed with for this friggin' deal went crazy and killed everyone. But you're gonna have to make it look like you hurt me.
Can I attempt to read her intentions?
Absolutely. I'm gonna say, since you're actively analyzing her, it's gonna be a perception check.
So, just to interrupt real quick, I think while that conversation is happening, Ishwar would go get the tech and Kip, one on each shoulder, and carry them to the ship.
The minute I see Ishwar carrying 2 injured people, I'm gonna come flying out to assist him.
One person and a crate.
Yeah, I'll come help him with Kip.
What's the difficulty on the perception check?
It's going to be average perception check, actually.
And as I'm watching her, I'm also going to say out loud, "Where's Tyrus?"
Okay, so first, you scrutinize her face, and you've done your fair share of sitting across the Bach games, talking to crime lords, talking your way out of hard times. Your assessment of her tells basically are that she is being completely sincere. You can tell the look in her eyes when she looks at Bior that this is someone that she cares a great deal for and respects. And as far as you can tell, she seems completely honest in her demeanor.
Well, we know why Bior's not down with the order. Sorry, had to. It was like a
Man,
And Bior, just because I'm insinuating this upon your character, I'm going to clarify. You had previously been hired to defend her, to protect her on a transport. She did not work at that time for Arakid. She basically was an accountant for a different company, and she was actually jumped by a series of assassin droids, and you managed to defend her. And ever since then, you have not seen her again. But this is the first time in probably a good 5 years you've seen this person. But it was essentially a successful mission to you that you were paid well for at the time.
If I can get Bior's glance with her back to me, I'll give him a slow nod.
all right, man. So I give her a hug. I'm like, it's good to see you. This isn't the time. You've helped us, and trust me, I'm doing this to help you. So I let her go, And as she takes a couple steps back, I just pull out my blaster and I shoot her in the arm or in the shoulder.
Okay, and she doesn't even attempt to defend herself. She nods at you with a kind of look like gritting her teeth, like she's ready for it. And as you hit her across the arm, it's a really good hit into the shoulder, and it kind of chars and burns the skin, and her arm is kind of hanging limply as she does it. And she falls to the ground for just a moment and picks herself up. And she reaches forward and takes your right hand and squeezes it for a moment. And she says, I'm giving you my HoloNet address and my comlink coordinates. If you need to reach out to me, use the password Nova in any of our communications, and I will cover up your involvement here. They won't know anything about it. I don't want to work for these people anymore. I had no idea that they were doing this type of stuff. I came here for a financial review. This place is off our books. I had no idea what they were up to.
You don't need to explain this to me, Rena. We have history. I know you. I know this isn't you.
Thank you, Bior. I'm gonna take this transport if you don't mind, and get the hell out of here.
Do that. We got what we came for.
And as she steps onto the ship, the guard who had been standing there that witnessed everything before him had basically kind of surrendered. And he looks at her and he says, ma'am, I'll escort you. And she pulls out a sidearm from her side and points it at his ear and pulls the trigger and shoots him. And he body falls back on the ground, and she says, I can't afford to have any witnesses that could compromise this. And she drops the blaster out of her hand, and you kind of see her tearing up a little bit, and she runs forward into the cockpit and starts the ship up. And as that happens, Tyrus walks in the room, and he's carrying the head of the droid that he has spent the last half hour trying to kill. And he drops it. He drops it on the floor, and leans forward and kind of rubs his temple for a moment, and he says, I have the worst headache.
Not as bad as the Cathar.
I slowly use my legs, leaning against the back wall to propel myself up. I kind of rock forward a bit, and then I just walk to the ship.
I'm going to ask Ishwar a bunch of questions that he can't actually answer me in a language I understand, but I look like I'm really trying to understand what he's saying. I am determined to learn Wookiee.
I took that lightsaber, by the way.
Good, I was going to say, let's pick up those lightsabers.
What's left of it? It's been cleaved in two, so you pick up the scraps of what's left of it.
It's not like there's a lightsaber company out there where you might eventually need backup sabers and stuff.
Before we get too comfortable, let's not forget this whole place is on fire.
Yeah, we're leaving. I'm going to say as Victor gets on, are you okay? And I'll be kind of getting the medical kit for Ishwar, for Bior, and trying to do my best.
Probably needs it more than me right now.
Yeah.
I will ask this. I know this place is on fire. Being right there's a supply room. Is there any chance that we would find anything valuable we could bring with us with any kind of rolls? In fast mode.
I would basically say, time-wise, you have maybe 20 minutes before the fire would get to the fuel depot. If you wanted to do a search, I would let one person make a roll who has the best perception.
I will hop off and yell for Bior to get in here and help Kip, because Kip looks pretty bad and I'm not a doctor, but I am definitely good at searching things.
Yeah, actually, I think Jens is probably the best person for that job. You're going to be rolling 4 purple dice on a perception check for a detailed search. It will allow you to complete the search in enough time that you don't feel you'd be in danger of blowing up.
Does my forager or keen eye? assist
Keen
me?
eye is negating the setback dice you'd otherwise have for the smoky conditions. What does forager do? That's for like food and water, right?
It's mostly for food and water, but
Okay.
I
What
keep
does
thinking-
forager say?
I just read it. I keep thinking it's for like everything.
What does forager say though? What is the word?
It allows me to. The black squares, they don't come up very often, do they?
Well, you have
Setback
one right
dice.
now, actually.
It allows me to remove up to 2 black squares from any skill checks to find food, water, or shelter. Survival checks to forage take half the time. So no, I don't think
Okay,
it
so that's
applies in
not
this
pertinent to
situation.
now, but
I keep messing it up.
your keen eye removes the setback dice for the smoke in the room right now. So go ahead and roll
And there's
that.
another thing on my mystic thing that'll give me like a bonus. I'm going 4.
Yeah.
And then keen eye, I remove a black square per rank of keen eye to perception and vigilance checks. And then my vigilance check or my perception checks take twice as much time as
They take half the time, right?
yeah. 50% off the time it would normally take me to look. So just perception 4 difficulty. God, that's hard.
Yes.
All right, let's see.
Okay, so you look through the area and you do find about probably like a week's worth of food and water supplies, which I will add to your consumables for your ship. But you don't find anything else of value as the place is sort of burning on fire and smoke is filling the room.
I should have asked for a bonus dice from Ishwar for helping.
As
Uh-huh.
as I make my way back to the ship, I'm kind of half dazed. I've got a lot of strain in. I am making my way across the hangar, and it's as I'm about halfway to the ship, I realize that I'm dragging the Sith Lord because I'm still holding my Ascension pistol. So I go back over to the Sith Lord. I sigh. I yank the pistol thing out of his leg, and then I have this awkward moment where, for 5 minutes, I'm reeling the Ascension pistol.
I'm sorry, but I can't help but think about the scene in the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man when he gets the tray attached to the webbing and then he runs out of the room and it's like pulled up to the door.
Actually,
We don't get to see movies anymore.
Meanwhile,
Ishwar.
by the way, I will point out that the Crimson Dawn Dark-Side user that you're dragging has a crushed skull that is leaking brain material everywhere as you're dragging him along.
I sigh heavily and I cover my mouth as I try and remove the Ascension
And
pistol.
I'm gonna tell people as we're kind of like loading stuff quickly onto the ship and saying I destroyed their communications array right off the bat the minute I noticed something was up. So I don't think they've warned anyone, but I do want to get out of here quickly.
Hey, can I pilfer that Sith?
What do you mean? Like search his body?
Yeah, he has to have something on him.
Yeah, no, I would count that as the search that you undertook before. There's nothing on him but some armored clothing and the pieces of the weapon that you already took.
Oh, okay.
So Ishwar is currently at 12 out of 13
Oh,
strain
sorry.
threshold as well.
Before you say that, in
And-
all fairness,
Go ahead.
actually there is one thing you do recover that was not expended in combat. You get one of those grenades that was thrown at you guys. The guard captain that has surrendered to you had
Word.
one of those grenades left over, so I'm going to add it to Ishwar's inventory.
Gosh,
Sweet.
he kind of, with everybody on the ship, he will be the last one on the ship, but he wanders up and just literally lays down on the meeting table in the middle of the ship's generally.
All right, so congratulations on what was a bloody and vicious battle against your most formidable opponent yet. You came out on top. And as you load everything up onto the ship and you are assessing your rather significant wounds and injuries, are we taking off from the facility before it burns to the ground?
Yes, we are leaving as soon as possible. Bior, as long as Bior's attending Kip, we're leaving.
Yeah, I'm Doogie Hazarding this place.
Bior, I want you to make for me. You're going to make one medicine check that I'm going to allow to be applied to everyone in the group. It is going to be 2 purple dice and difficulty. Second.
Your bedside manner could be better. Like, no, you stay there. You're forcing him into the table.
All right, so everybody can recover. Everybody can recover 2 wounds off the bat. And I want everyone.
How many?
Two wounds can be recovered from his.
You know, I forgot to add in my boost dice from my backpack.
Ooh, go ahead and roll that, please. I'll add it to the result. Nothing. Okay, don't you have something called physician or something? What does that talent do?
Hold on.
Character makes a medicine check to help a character heal once target heals 1 additional strain. Okay. All right, so everybody heals 1 strain and 2 wounds. And then I want each and every one of you to roll your choice, either cool or... Let me see what it is. It's either cool or... Or presence, whichever you prefer. Do I have that right?
Not the skill cool, but like your initiative cool. Yeah.
Presence is a skill? I don't have presence.
No, its presence is your characteristic. You would drag that over.
Oh.
I think I have that wrong. I'm gonna say
Yeah,
roll
but cool is a presence skill.
Roll cool or discipline. I'll let you roll because I have to look that up again. I can't remember. This is like a choice there. Cool or discipline, whichever is higher. Go ahead and roll that with no difficulty. All right, each and every one of you, however many successes you got, you take away 1 strain for each success. If you rolled 2 advantage, you can count that as an extra success. If you rolled a triumph, you can count that as an extra 2 successes. So that's how many strain you can get rid of off your character sheet for taking a breather, so to speak.
So it was 1 per success?
1 per success or 2 advantage and 2 for a triumph.
So Kip is now awake. Just has a splitting headache.
God, I don't want to sound dumb, so I get 5 off, right?
Bior, yeah, you get 5.
When did I get hurt? I feel like that would have been a very long time ago.
It was a very long time ago that we have not healed yet.
Should that be gone by now?
No, not unless, even if you sleep, you only remove a certain amount of wounds, so unless someone heals you, those are going to stay for a while.
Well, the
I mean,
7 ones.
I just think that on the off time, my character would be force healing people.
Well, we'll have to make a point of doing it from now on, and we'll just assume that we haven't. We're learning.
Yeah, you can't assume that everyone's fully healed after combat. In this game system, wounds stay unless they're specifically healed, and there's a limit to how many times you can heal in a day.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
When well, do we leave this place successfully? Are we in atmosphere?
Yeah, I'm actually assuming that Jensa took off successfully. She's done this a number of times already in pilot checks. So you take off. You are currently leaving the atmosphere, and there's this sort of moment where everyone is equally traumatized and exhausted, and they're just sort of staring at each other in quiet.
When Ishwar, when he's done just laying down and looking tired, when he returns to the waking world, I'm gonna sit down next to him, probably still smoking slightly, and I will say, I know we got off on the wrong foot, and I'm sorry I don't speak your language. That's my bad. But I wanted to give you a gift to thank you. You done good, and I think you'll appreciate this. And I hand him the thermal detonator.
Oh, nice. Okay. You can drag that from your character sheet to his picture if you like.
knowing that you can't understand him, he kind of just gives you the little, and then puts a big fuzzy hand on your head and ruffles your head.
Oh, big guy.
I'm just gonna stay buckled in while we're in the vicinity of the system. Are we going straight to our next mission, which is the crate run?
What we're gonna say, since it's about that time, is we're gonna call it here. Because you guys took a short rest as you were taking off and you had 10 minutes to catch your breath, Kip, you come too. So you kind of wake up with a throbbing headache and you still have a little tinnitus or ringing in your ears. And I'm going to ask you kind of before we wrap up, is there anything you would do upon immediately awakening and surveying the scene around you and seeing your bruised and beaten companions, victorious companions, I might add?
He ignores all of that, and he looks for the crate.
Right down to business. So yes, you see the crate marked Remus. Remus. It's a blue sort of cargo crate. It was hastily packaged, so one of the corners is still not fully clothed, and there's like a piece of the garb that is like kind of caught in there.
He looks at everyone. He says, "We were successful," and he opens up the crate.
You sound surprised.
And what you see as you open the crate
I didn't
is...
witness it.
Go ahead.
No, that's fine.
Oh, what you see as you open the crate is a set of armor. Incidentally, it matches your character art's armor exactly. So it's a very tight-fitting bodysuit that is armored, so it does have some sort of protection to it. Very high-tech. There is a integrated sleek backpack or back unit that is on the dorsum of the armor, and attached to it is a droid unit that is currently powered down, but it is literally sort of locks in to the backpack unit on the back of the armor, where you can see a little charging indicator where you can see sort of battery power charging up as it's locked into the back of the armor.
One day I'll have armor. I guess the spaceship's my armor sometimes. I'm going to yell. I'm gonna kind of yell over the comms. Hey, Victor, we're not out of the woods yet. Can you get up here?
I roll up to the cockpit, sit down at the computer station, and I put the AI drive next to the console and say, "Oh, bonus prize."
Yeah, and Victor, as you look at this thing, you've never really seen one in person before, but you have heard of these. Basically, these are typically only available to high-end corporate buyers. They're restricted, and you've kind of always wanted one, to be honest. So you're aware from seeing it in use that it can either be hooked into a computer device to help remove its defenses, or put into a friendly computer to help protect it against intrusion. And it now belongs to you.
Can you slide that onto my character sheet, please?
It is already there. It is called an Outlaw Tech Data Breaker. All right, so let's do this. Before we just quickly wrap up, Kip, are you doing anything with the armor or leaving it in the crate for the moment? We'll say leaving it in the crate for the moment then.
Oh, sorry, sorry. I was hitting the wrong button. He, no, he's picking up the different pieces and just sort of like studying them. He's wincing. I mean, he's very injured. But he looks at everyone and he says, "I'm happy we are all still alive. That cat man, I thought he was going to kill us." patron Victor, did you download the schematics? And if so, can you put them on my data pad, please? I want to study this tech.
So I purged the core, which was our mission, and that tech belongs to Mr. Gareth Hawk.
So no, you don't have the schematics?
I'm an honest man. I wouldn't steal schematics that he asked to be purged. I do not own any schematics.
Okay. But he did say I could have this armor. Is that correct?
Yeah.
I mean, when we contact him, why don't you get information from him directly?
I mean, it's his stolen technology anyway.
Yeah, I mean, he's our patron in this organization. So just ask the boss.
Okay. If that's the
Kip,
case,
are you okay back there?
I'm gonna go to sleep. He goes,
Well,
that's okay, that's okay. I'm gonna go to sleep. And he gathers up all of the pieces and he takes it to his bunk and he goes to sleep, holding parts of it.
And Tyrus hasn't said much of anything, but he still seems to be carrying the head of that droid under his arm as he walks onto the ship. He opens some of the cupboards in the lounge and pulls out some brandy that he had stored in there. Pours the glass, doesn't say anything to anybody, and he slides the brandy carafe back in there. And as he takes like a full gulp, like he just pretty much downs the whole thing in one sitting. And he walks to his room and shuts the door. Doesn't say anything to anybody.
Yeah, you guys rest. I'll drive. It's cool.
Oh man, he has PTSD.
No.
Yeah, he's like rubbing the bridge of his nose and his eyes are closed the whole time as he's doing this.
Since this
Hey
is
man, Ishmar did all the work.
Victor up front, I'll say I'm glad you're okay.
Glad you're okay too. Thanks for the extraction. Here, and I hand you back your macro binocular.
Thank you.
I think I've had these for way too long.
Oh, that's right. You've had those since you guys were on the dumpster moon.
Dumpster Moon, yeah, we'd pass him back and forth, but he's been holding them for the most part lately, so.
All right, so this will be a good place to end. We will say you have completed your mission. You can initiate contact with Mr. Hawk next session, and you will I would like you, Jensa, please, to make a astrogation check for me.
Okay.
It is going to be average difficulty, and the results of this will determine how long you will be in hyperspace.
Is there a storage facility that the party group can use for the ship? Because I'm gonna stow my cold weather outfit.
Sure, next
do I
to the
do that?
illicit gear in the cargo bay that you have in there.
Yeah, how do I physically move the cold weather gear to like a ship storage?
You could take it off and put on your normal clothing, and then just sort of put it in the cargo bay somewhere, or put it in a cabinet.
No.
in your-
Like as far as the character sheets encumbrance.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
how do I take it out
okay.
of my inventory?
So yeah. Okay, so the ship has inventory. We can move it to the ship's inventory. We'll say that. So Victor, you want to get rid of what? Cold weather gear?
Cold weather clothes.
All right, so I put that in the ship's inventory. You can see that by clicking on the Starship button, and you'll see it in the inventory there. If there's anything else people want to unload into that, you can as well.
Let's put that rocket launcher in there, huh?
Okay, who's carrying that, by the way?
I think Tythus said he had a rocket launcher.
Tyrus?
So
I think so.
yeah, we put it at the ramp at the.
Oh, he is carrying it. Yeah, I'm putting that in the cargo bay as well because he has
In
a
the
I
future,
also have some spare pistols I'm gonna put in there.
Yeah, you can just
You're
drag
like,
the little
you're like
gray
a walking
box
pistol
over
repository. Your holdout blaster, or which one? The light blaster pistol?
Light blaster pistol. I'll hold on to the holdout.
All right, so you're
Because
less
I can
encumbered.
hide that one, carry the other blaster pistol on my hip, and then I'll have my knives as well.
All right. So we're gonna
And
wrap
there's
this up.
Oh, the rope.
Up,
The
up,
rope.
up. Oh, you want to put your rope in there too?
Yeah.
Just
Carry it.
Walk around with rope on my back.
I agree.
Don't forget you left it in there if you don't say you're taking it.
I know, but I have the Ascension pistol, so somebody else should probably get the rope.
True. That is true. Anyone else
I
want
only
to
have so much encumbrance.
unencumber themselves into the ship's cargo bay?
Well, I mean, we technically have room in our bunks for a lot of stuff too. So
Yeah.
I wish we had like
mechanically
we need,
doesn't
like, a
matter
little
where it is on the
notebook.
ship, but
Yeah.
all right, so that's a good place for us to stop. Thank you guys for a great session. When we pick up next time, Kip, I will discuss with you the mechanics of the Remus unit after you have a discussion with Mr. Hawk. And that brings us to the end of this week's episode. Join us in approximately 2 weeks' time for episode number 20. We hope you have a great week.